Okay, we're going to go through the next feature that's shown in your textbook, and it's called slicers. That is on page 284 through 286 in your text. So a slicer is simply the same as the filtering options that we went through, but what we couldn't tell when we did our filtering, what values we had turned on or off within our filters. So the slicing option allows you to really more visualize what is turned on or off within your filtering command. So I've gone ahead and I've cleared out my filters. The only thing that's really showing here is still that my columns are sorted descending and ascending. So descending is highest to lowest, ascending is lowest to highest. So those cells are, or those columns are still sorted, but I've turned off the filters. So you can see that I have all of my data here shown. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did, but instead we're going to use this slicer option. So I want to be in my table because I need that design tab to open up again. So I'm going to click in that design tab and I'm going to select this option called Insert Slicer. So I'm going to go ahead and insert slicer, and so what happens is a dialog box shows up and it takes the column headings and puts them on these different as different ways to slice and dice this data. So let's do the same thing. We want to insert a slicer by the amount of snow. So I'm going to turn on that slicer. I'm going to say OK. And what it does is it takes those different values that appear in this table and it sets it up and says, okay, so if you want to take my table here and just show the data values that are equal to 0.63, I can do that. 0.67, I can do that as well. But let's say I wanted to see a range or different, a collection of things that I did by checking on those boxes by using the drop-down list over here. So I'm going to check on those boxes, but there's no check, right? So the first thing I need to do is be able to multi-select. So how have you multi-selected before? You used the Control key on your keyboard. So select the Control key and you can select individual ones that you want included now. So you can see the ones that show up in blue are the values that will show up in my filter. And that's really all there is to slicers. It allows you to multi-level filter or multi-filter, but you can now see what is actually being filtered on. So the slicer option is a really handy feature to have. Again, this really started in Excel 2013, so if you're using a previous version, you won't have the slicer option. And I cannot speak for a Mac if the slicer option does appear on the Mac version of Excel 2016. So go ahead and play around with the slicers. They're fun to do.